This is epic.
Epic.
We got Terry Fator with us today.
Ta-da! Hello,
Good to
welcome
be here.
to our show. Thanks
I'm excited to be here. This is gonna be a lot of fun.
And you brought backup.
Yeah, Winston the impersonating turtle.
Right, Winston the impersonating turtle. He's actually the guy that won America's Got Talent. So no delusions. I didn't win it. He did.
And I agree.
And I'm glad you just brought that up because this is gonna come as a shock to you, but our dear friend Natalie here. Yeah, I'm gonna call you out right now. 100% I'm gonna call you out. Does not watch the show.
What?
I did back in the day when you were on it.
Oh, well, that's all that matters.
Good save.
Right?
Good save.
See what I did there?
But you should watch now. I'm curious, do you watch now or no?
I do, actually. I try to keep up with it. It was weird. All through every season, I've watched every episode. So have I. So has he. And my wife and I will watch it, you know, after... usually a day or two late because I don't have time to watch it when it's on. I'm usually performing at the Mirage when it's on.
Right.
But I actually, and then last year, I don't know what happened, I just couldn't watch it. But I did watch the finals. I did finally.
You did?
Yes. But I just was just like, oh, you know, and now this year, for some reason, I'm energized and I'm watching it again.
I love it.
Really enjoying it.
I want you to know, on season 2, I believe you were season 2, right?
I was, yes.
Which was the first season I watched. I predicted you would win day 1.
That's amazing. I hear that so often. And I must have been the only one who was clueless because I really didn't think I was going to win.
How did you not know?
I hear that all the time. And then I was just talking to somebody the other day and I said, you know, it's really the landscape's really changed. I'm not sure how I would do if I did it again. And people, they were like, oh, you'd win it again. I'm
Are
like,
you crazy?
Maybe it's just I don't see what other people see.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, I do.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here's how good, not to brag about you and embarrass you while you're here, but you're this good. If you moved your mouth, we would forgive you. Like, the characters are so good. Your voice, the way you sing is with your mouth closed, is insane.
Yeah.
Your mouth closed singing is better than a million people mouth open. Like, it's nuts, including you.
Including me, yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yes.
Very nice of you.
100%. Yes. So was he the first character you ever...
No, actually, you want to tell the story?
No, you tell it.
Okay, so what happened was I was actually doing this Kermit the Frog puppet that I had been, I bought it on eBay. This was back in the early days of eBay, back in the early 2000s when eBay wasn't even that popular. But I found this Kermit the Frog puppet, and I was doing What a Wonderful World, where I would sing as Louis Armstrong, and then Kermit the Frog would sing as Kermit the Frog, of course. And it was doing gangbusters. Everywhere I went in the country, I would do this, and I would get standing ovations as soon as I finished. So I'm thinking, this is going to be great on America's Got Talent. Well, the Muppets would not let me use a Kermit the Frog puppet on America's Got Talent. They said we never allow anyone to be Kermit except Kermit. So, not knowing what I was going to do, and I said, look, I know this bit is going to kill. So I started searching the internet and trying to find some other, an amphibian or a reptile or something that I could replace Kermit with that could do an impression of Kermit the Frog. And I found this little guy, well, actually not him.
Yeah, it was the previous Winston.
Right, the first Winston. Found him at a toy store online. I had him overnight him to America's Got Talent, named him Winston the Impersonating Turtle, and he went, "Hi ho, Kermit the Frog here." Exactly. So he can do the impression of Kermit. So he did that, and then once I got the Vegas gig, I had to do away with a little puppet that I bought on eBay, or that I bought at a toy store, and I had to actually get one made.
Yes.
You need a real one.
And this guy is made by the same people who make the Muppets.
Really?
I'm very proud of that.
Yes, you should be.
Yes.
This is your second one.
Yes, this is my second.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's interesting. I never would have thought, like, you always think of, like, an artist that's going to sing a song, you have to get song clearance. I wouldn't have even thought, like, I mean, it's obviously it makes sense, but I wouldn't even think that you had to get clearance for that.
You know, the
How do they know?
Muppets are trademarked, and there's a really hard and fast rule in the Muppet world, and that is one person, one Muppet. So if you're animal, there's only one person that can do animal. They will not allow, and I think that really keeps the integrity of the character.
Yeah.
So you don't have 10 people out there doing Kermit the Frog. You have one person out there doing Kermit the Frog, and that's
Right.
really why they did that.
And now, same thing in this case, right? No one can knock off Winston, or there's going to be problems.
Hope not. Terry would lose his hand.
That's true.
And so that's hilarious. Would you ventriloquist when I was growing up? Like, I remember there was like Willie Tyler and Lester. I want to say that's it. And
Jay Johnson from Soap. Remember
oh,
Soap?
Oh yeah.
You're too young.
She doesn't. Yeah.
No, but
that's grandma.
Yes.
I will call her after this.
Okay. Yeah.
But you remember Soap?
100%.
And
right.
Jay Johnson from Soap, who
Totally
is
forgot that.
unbelievably good.
Yeah.
And then, there wasn't a whole bunch of them. Now, as a ventriloquist, of course, I would follow the ones that were even previous to I started in 1975. And by that time, Jimmy Nelson had already kind of seen his star rise, and Paul Winchell,
yeah.
and Edgar Bergen, of course, who passed away in 1978. But with those guys, I found their old records, I found books, so I kind of knew all about them, just like anyone else who had grown up in the era when they were popular.
How do you come up with all these characters? Is it the same as like if you're doing a stand-up act? You know, you write a piece of material, and with you base it around. Like, what comes first, the actual Muppet or the voice?
The idea.
The idea.
Yeah, the idea. So with, I told the story of Winston, so he kind of came in as a replacement for Kermit the Frog.
I'm insulted.
You shouldn't be, because that's a good guy to be replacing.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll come up with an idea. Now lately I've been doing a lot of real life characters. So I've got David Bowie, Elton John, Justin Bieber, Sammy Davis Jr., Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin. And what I've done with them is that's when I'll go, okay, my next character, and I'm really not, normally I hide it, but I'm telling people is going to be Freddie Mercury. So I'm going to bring in Freddie Mercury. We're going to get because I need a Freddie Mercury puppet so he can sing Under Pressure with David Bowie. I mean, that's just a natural, right?
Yep, right. Makes sense.
So, but when I create a character like Winston, or like, let's say, Maynard Tompkins, my Elvis impersonator, who doesn't know any Elvis songs, that's where I come up with the idea, and I say, I want a puppet who can sing, who does Elvis songs, right? So then I get the puppet made. So I'll contact a puppet maker, and we'll go through several designs and have them do drawings, and then they'll usually do a clay mock-up so that I can see what it is before they actually carve the puppet. And then once we're happy with it, then they get them all carved and painted and put all the stuff in. And the character usually comes out. With Winston, it was pretty easy.
I'm just so cute.
Exactly. So he was kind of the impersonator, the personification of cute.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Personification of cute.
I like that.
And when you're singing, how do you, like, you posted on Instagram a couple days ago, it was just you, like, sitting in with a band. Is it hard for you to find your own voice?
Yes, and it was very hard, and it really wasn't until about 2 or 3 years ago that I was able to find my own voice and start singing things in my own voice. In fact, in the early 90s, I got signed, my band got signed by Warner Brothers Records, and they were gonna groom us and turn us into the next big, country band. And they came in and they said, no more puppets. What? Yeah, but don't worry about it, you're safe. They said no more puppets, no more comedy, no more impressions. You got to sing everything in your own voice. After about 6 weeks of that, I was absolutely miserable, and I said I don't want to do this. And I told the band, I said if you guys want to do it, fine. But I like doing the comedy and the impressions. To me, it's much more remarkable to be able to sing like anyone than it is to just because singers are a dime a dozen. There are singers, millions of singers out there.
Yeah.
But very few people can actually listen to somebody and sing exactly like other people. So that's way more fun to me. And then when I found out I could do it without moving my lips and had puppets do it, then it became even more fun. People are like, they asked me, you mentioned that, I could sing without, with my lips moving.
Right.
People say, why do you do that? It's because it's so much fun. I mean, I have puppets. It looks like the puppets are doing the singing.
And you can do it without even, it sounds like it's from backstage too.
Exactly.
That is
So
impressive.
it's way more fun to have a puppet do it with my lips not moving than it would be if I was just standing up there singing. Way more fun.
Yeah.
And it's more fun for the audience too.
Yeah. Now, I saw the show recently, like maybe a month or two ago. You just saw like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, whenever that was. And I've seen you a bunch of times, but it had been a while since I'd seen you. I don't know if you were surprised, Natalie. I don't remember you pushing it as far as you push it on the comedy side.
Yeah.
It's the funniest show I've ever done.
You come to the line, buddy. I was really shocked and pleasantly shocked.
Well, what I try to do is I try to make every single incarnation of the show better than the last incarnation. And as I looked at it, and I was very proud of every single incarnation of the show, I looked and I thought, it's not funny enough. But one of the things I learned was that I can, because obviously I'm known as being an impressionist and a singer, And so I was spending a lot of time singing. So maybe 40 to 60% of the show was singing. And then I realized, man, if I write a really funny parody, I can be telling a joke, I can be getting a laugh, I can be doing an impression and singing all at the same time.
Yeah.
And ventriloquism.
Exactly, and ventriloquism.
Don't forget that. That's very important to me.
It should be. So, but yeah, so that's really why is I started, and you notice I did a lot more of the parody songs because, and that's hard to do. It's hard to write a really funny parody song.
Right.
But it's worth the time and effort that I put doing it.
Yeah, my favorite puppet was, I think, Vicky. Vicky the cougar.
Oh, Vicky's great.
She cracks me up. Is she somebody you actually know?
No, she's actually based on a lot of people that I know. In fact, what happened was...
like a mutt between
She
everyone.
really is. What happened was, you know how... I lived in Texas my whole life. I grew up in Dallas, Texas. I'd never really been anywhere. I went to Lynchburg, Virginia for college, and then went right back to Texas. Now, I'd traveled around and done some things, but I'd never really been in the Hollywood circle and the LA circle and all that. And as soon as America's Got Talent was over, suddenly I'm getting invited to Emmy parties, and I'm getting invited to all these Hollywood places and all these, and I'm looking and going, oh my God, these people, I thought they were just characters in movies. I didn't realize that these people that looked like they were made out of plastic were real, you know? I thought that was just movie characters.
Right, right.
Suddenly I'm surrounded by all these women that look like,
That's
oh my God, their
hilarious.
faces, they have literally like remade their face.
Right.
So I thought, oh, I gotta have somebody like this. And of course, I think the term cougar, I had never really heard it until then. I think it was relatively new. Maybe I just was not in the right circles, but so I decided I had to make a cougar puppet.
Yeah.
And I made one, and Vicky kind of represents all of that.
She made me laugh so hard. All the head whips, too.
It's so good.
Yeah. And the hashtag,
Right?
too.
Oh, the hashtag me too. That was
We're not
genius.
gonna,
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah,
gonna
go
ruin
see
the
the
show.
show.
We're
You
not
gotta
gonna
see
ruin
the show.
That's one of my favorite jokes in the
Yeah.
show.
It's
I wait for
brilliant.
I
that.
was just like, that made my life.
Yeah.
I was shocked when you said that. I was
Yeah,
like, wow.
and the political humor. I mean,
Yeah.
it is really, it's amazing how you found a way to, I said on our very first show, which was just a few weeks ago, Terry, that if I were to pick the top 3 shows in town, it's 100%, it's, for me, it's you, it's Absinthe, it's Chris Angel. And I wouldn't say not necessarily in that order, but in a way, I put you number 1 because to me, you're the one show that somehow you figured out a way that you can have a show that you can bring the kids to, satisfy the adults on the comedy end, and obviously the singing is just global, speaks for itself.
Exactly.
Everyone likes that, and
Well, thank you.
that's
That's
really
quite a
hard to do.
compliment. Yeah. And the trick is to, you can think like Pixar. You know, Pixar, you go to a Pixar movie, and there are those little things that the kids are not going to get.
Right.
That I probably didn't get. Even I was a young adult, and I probably didn't get a lot of those. And my wife and I just watched Pixar 1, 2, Toy Story 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
And we're like, oh my God, I can't believe they just told that joke. You
Right.
know? And that's really kind of the way my show is that there's no swearing, there's no outright, anything that's outright dirty. But there are those little things where you go, ooh,
Right.
that was just for the
Yeah.
adults, and the kids, they're just clueless. They don't have a clue what just happened.
And as part of the brilliance, I don't want to give stuff away, but is part of the genius, you probably won't want to refer to yourself as that, but I'll do it for you. It seems like you throw it off on them also sometimes. You throw it, so it's really, it's out of your hands. It's the character did it, right? It's not you.
Exactly. And I think the best compliment I could possibly have when somebody comes to my show is when I get up and sing a song by myself, people say, I didn't know you could sing. That means I did my job. If
Right.
you didn't realize I was the one doing all the singing,
That's a good point.
I did it. And the funny thing is, throughout the entire season of America's Got Talent that I was on, that I won, every single puppet, I never did one single routine that I did not sing. My puppet sang, I should say. And people that watched me and were big fans from America's Got Talent will watch me do a song by myself and go, oh my gosh, I had no idea you could sing. And I'm like, that's great. They think Winston can sing, and that's good. That means I'm performing my job correctly.
Yeah. What's the longest you've gone without a puppet?
Oh,
Attached
most of the time.
Yeah. In fact, my hand's getting sweaty.
I can feel it. It's disgusting.
When you travel, you're not checking them. How do you travel with the
Actually,
whole cast?
I'm to the point, luckily.
You're on private?
Before America's Got Talent, well, I do sometimes, but before America's Got Talent, I had a couple of cases, and I would check one, and I would put all my main puppets so I could do an entire show with the main puppet. Like if I was doing it now, like this, I would have Winston, probably Walter T. Airedale, and one other, maybe Emma Taylor.
Okay.
And I have multiples made of all of them.
Got it.
And we ship the multiples, and so
Okay.
they're waiting for me.
So you already know, so there's no surprise. Yeah, because that would be a nightmare to be worrying, right? You couldn't do it.
So we get there, and the puppets are there. And there have been times when the shipping company didn't get the puppets, and we still travel on with, not me, but my crew, will still travel on with a Winston, and I can do, in fact, one time there was not even a Winston, and I did an entire show with a Winston knockoff puppet. No, well, it was not the knockoff puppet. I'm sorry, the Winston Juniors that we sell.
Okay.
You did?
And I was like, should I duck?
No.
Oh my God.
Wow, that's impressive.
When my dad is, the road, your schedule, forget the road, just your schedule is insane. I mean, what you're Tuesday, what are you? You're off on the weekends here, but you do shows on the weekends, you travel.
Monday through Thursdays, and then either I'm performing here at the Mirage on Friday and Saturday, or I travel. Like this weekend, I'm traveling to Massachusetts and New Hampshire, and then I'm back Monday for.
There's diehard fitness people that when they post, sometimes they'll post like they'll work out on a Sunday and they'll put hashtag like no days off. That's kind of you.
Yeah, no days off.
100%.
Exactly.
But you love it.
I love it. I couldn't be happier.
And what do you do, like, like the road, sometimes I know, and just that schedule, like knowing from my dad, like sometimes, the voice, it's strong on one day, it's weak on another day, and sometimes you get sick, you're human, whatever. Mm-hmm. My dad can throw it to the band. My dad can take a couple songs off, have, Kerry Cole, who sing some songs,
and
whatever.
He does great, too.
And he does great, yeah. And he loves you. And so, he's got other players he can throw it to.
Yeah, there's nobody.
Even if you throw it to Winston, you're still throwing it to you.
Exactly, when I'm sick. And the funny thing is, I notice it more than other people. So I'll notice, oh man, that high note wasn't as strong as it was. Or sometimes I'll go to hit a high note and nothing will come out if I'm sick. And I've actually found, and I shared this with Tony, with your dad, was that I started taking food grade hydrogen peroxide. I take a droppers, eyedropper full in like a soda, and I'll take that every single day. And I have not, knock on wood, I've not gotten sick, and I lost my voice in years
Really?
and years. But it's a natural antibiotic, so it actually kills germs and kills things that are brewing, and gives you, I don't know how it works, but somebody turned me onto it. Yeah, somebody turned me onto it about 6 years ago. I used to get sick all the time. I was always sick. I never missed shows from being sick.
Right.
Only once. But
Hashtag no days off.
Yes, I was in the hospital. That was the one time I was in the hospital.
You get a hall pass for that,
I
It's
do,
okay
yes.
to take a sick day.
Yes.
It's all
and
right.
I still felt guilty. It's like I was in the hospital for a week, and I kept saying, can I go tonight? Can I perform tomorrow?
Right.
And the doctor's like, no, you have to finish, But I hate missing shows, and I know Tony's got to feel the same way. Because, the fans, they really love it.
Right. And you guys are sensitive, so people come to Vegas all the time, but Iowa doesn't always get to see you maybe once a year, or Wisconsin, or the other places you go.
Exactly.
So then,
yes.
Right. And
They'll say,
you
oh
want
my
to answer the
gosh,
bell.
Yes, and I just really hate missing shows, but I do the best I can to stay healthy.
When you, like America's Got Talent obviously launched you. Now you've got these ridiculous contracts. I read, the numbers on online. I mean, it's public, right? That's all public. I mean, it's like $100 million over 5 years. You're on like contract number 3. Why are you still doing it?
Wow.
Because I love doing it.
It's just not about the money at that point.
And I donate most of it to charity. So it's like, I started my foundation, and it's really not, I have no desire, and I take really good care of my employees, and I have no desire to be wealthy. I want to have enough money to take care of my wife and myself,
right?
And take care of my employees and give the rest to charity.
Well, Terry, I don't know if you know, but we weren't going to announce this yet, but we could just announce it now. That Natalie and I were just about to launch our charity today, as a matter of fact. And
really?
We are now a charity, so we're open for charitable donations.
Yes, we are.
It doesn't even have a name yet. We're open. We could call it the Terry Fator Helps John and Nat Foundation. We can do that. Let's do it. I'm in. Yeah, I'll send you all the paperwork and all that. Later we can figure out the details and what you want to.
That's not important.
Those whether it's monthly contributions, every 6 months, whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with, we're okay with.
I understand.
Do you remember like when you first signed that deal at the Mirage? I mean, obviously you get like $1 million from AGT, right? When you win, which is not anything to sneeze at. But like when you sign a deal at the Mirage, do you have like a sense of like, like I did it, I made it? Like what?
No.
You don't?
And the funny thing is, it took me a few days to realize what had happened. Because it was just like, my brain, I've got really intense ADD, which is probably why I'm able to do the things that I'm able to do, because I can do several things at one time because of the ADD. But I just never really think about it. My job is to put the best show on that I possibly can. And so I'm constantly focused, and that's what I did. I immediately started focusing on writing the show and getting it ready. I think it was in November when we signed the big contract, and then it was like I didn't start till February, and it's like, okay. So I started writing and rehearsing and working and creating characters and creating routines.
Some good time.
Yeah. So, and that's really what I do. I don't really think about it. You know, for me, it's not about, oh wow, they just signed this big multi-million-dollar contract. For me, it's about, okay, that gives me more years to entertain people in Vegas. And I focus on the people that I'm entertaining. So I don't really think about all that. For me, it's all about the entertainment.
Is there stress that comes with that? Like, you know, if you're a baseball player and you sign, you know, $30 million a year, you know, you're Mike Trout or whatever, there's got to be some pressure of like, okay, now I got to perform. You don't have any of that?
I have no pressure.
That's amazing.
At all. I let other people do the pressure. I just work. My job is to entertain. You know, my job is to have fun. So I can't get bogged down on, you know, and at the end of the day, baseball is a game. You know, and if you're more focused on the contract and more focused on, then it's not a game anymore. For me, this is fun. I get to play with puppets, you know.
It's a job for you.
And people pay to see me play with puppets, and that's all I care about. That really is all I care about, is making sure they get their money's worth when they pay to see me.
That's great. And you're constantly creating new. Like, are you like, do you schedule out like, okay, I'm gonna work on new material for 2 hours a day, or like, are you on a schedule?
Well, I kind of am in a general way. It's not that I don't like block it off in my calendar, but that's what I do in the mornings. I get up in the mornings. I'm an early riser, so I don't go to bed, and I go to bed early, about 10:30, 11. I'm done with my show at the Mirage at 9. 10:30, 11, I'm zonked. I get up at 6 in the morning, and then I have my devotions. I read my Bible, and I pray and talk to God, and make sure that I give thanks for that's, and make sure that I'm living the life that I need to live. And then I work. And then I start opening scripts and working on characters and working on voices and writing parodies, and that's what. But I usually do that until about 11, and then at 11 o'clock I fire up a video game and play video games.
What video game?
Oh, yeah, what do you
I've
play?
been playing Destiny 2 lately. That's
really?
I'm playing the heck out of it.
He's a gamer.
And I played the heck out of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Even got my wife Angie hooked on Breath of the Wild too. So.
Now, are you wired up on a headset too, talking trash?
Sometimes.
Yeah?
Sometimes.
Are you playing? Do you play as you?
I do.
Do they even believe that it's you?
Actually, I'm doing Xbox, and it's Puppet Boy 2009. So if you want to join
awesome.
me, Puppet Boy 2009, so you can see me.
And now, does Winston play as well, or does he just watch?
No, I don't. His hand hurts when he plays, and that gives me a headache.
You got that
right. Oh my God, it's too good. It's just too good, right? It's like it's a real.
I know.
critter.
I'm looking at it like.
Yeah. When we first sat down, before we were even rolling, we were having just like a regular conversation, and Winston was like reacting to the conversation, and it's like it all hit us at once that like it's so crazy. It's just, it comes so natural to you, doesn't it?
It does, yes. Yes, and the funny thing is, like, I have a Stevie Wonder puppet, and I was doing interviews with that Stevie Wonder puppet. Now, I had never done a Stevie Wonder puppet in my life, but I had just gotten him, and we were doing interviews, and I didn't even realize this, but he was doing the whole Stevie Wonder thing while I was interviewing with people. So it's weird how, again, that's my ADD. My ADD kind of compartmentalizes this hand and says, all right, this is the character now. Right. And so if you're talking or you say something, he's immediately, I don't even have to think about it. So I'm one of those people that's, most people, ADD is a bad thing. For me, it's a very good thing. I don't want to take medication because I don't know if that would stymie my ability. You know, I do about 15 things on stage at a time, and I don't bat an eye, you know.
No,
so
you don't.
and that's,
it looks like you're not.
Exactly. And the best way, it's the ones who make it look effortless that are the best. So
100%.
So like if we watch football and we watch, yeah, I could do that, you know. It's like, no, good. But you know, if they make it look easy, then that means they're really doing it right.
Now, would you ever do a performance of just you singing?
I actually do. Very often, I will. If the Mirage, at the Mirage, they have a lounge. It's called the Parlor Lounge, and there's a piano player in there, and they just sing songs and stuff. And right after a show, if there's not something booked in it, I'll go, hey, everybody, meet me over at the lounge. I'm going to sing for 2 hours, and my piano player comes over there and he plays, and I just sing.
Really?
I love doing that. I love singing. And karaoke. Don't even start me at a karaoke bar.
Come on.
What's your go-to song?
Any of them. I mean, I just start looking and I go, oh, I can do that one. That's Roy Orbison. I can do this one. That's that's Van Halen. Doesn't matter. I mean,
and when you're like in the car, if you're gonna rock out on a road trip, what are you listening to? Like, what's your go-to? Are you a rock guy? Or are you
I like to listen to books on tape.
Okay.
Because it gives me a chance to read. I love to read. I try to read about 20 books a month.
20 bucks a month?
I do, yeah. I try to read about 20 books a month. So if I'm not reading on my Kindle, I'm listening to a book on tape. And but if I like to take my iPod, and I have every style of music you can imagine, from Frank Sinatra to Al Jolson to
Tony O. Got a little Tony O in there.
Tony,
okay, just checking. I'm just checking.
Of course. And I have it all on my iPhone, and I hit downloaded songs, and then I hit shuffle, and I just let it go from one. So I will listen to anything and everything on. I don't like. Usually I don't get one thing, but one of my writers has a band named No More Kings, and I do listen to his stuff. Occasionally I'll just put on No More Kings. That's really good, by the way. Go to No More Kings, and they're on iTunes, and they're amazing.
What song in your show or in the history of your shows do you do that you're like, wow, like I nailed that one? Is it Etta James or?
Yeah, I think.
At last,
Etta James. Etta James.
It's so good.
But I
mean,
think
they're all good. But
I think the one that really has me right now is Willie Nelson. I think I had never done a Willie Nelson in my life ever. Yeah. And a guy made a Willie Nelson puppet, and sent me. I'm going to put him up. He's my hand's
okay. Yeah.
Here you go. My hand's starting to go to sleep.
Bye, Winston.
Bye, Winston.
Winston's going sleepy.
That's really hard.
Winston's so sleepy.
It's hard to keep that going as long as it. But this guy in Norway sends me an email, and he says, I made this Willie Nelson puppet and Stevie Wonder puppet, and I made them for you, but if you don't want to buy them, that's fine. I'll just put them on the shelf. And I'm like, yeah, of course. So I get this Willie Nelson puppet. I listened to a Willie Nelson song. I didn't even know any. I had to learn it. And then I picked him up and immediately started singing with him. And it's like, whoa, I can sing. And I went, lately I didn't love you quite as often as I should have. Like, well, I can do it, And so that's the one I'm really happy with. But also I think my David Bowie's pretty darn good too.
Yeah.
So.
Now, are there any impressions that you haven't been able to do? Like, is there anyone that you're like, man, I just can't get this one right?
Not yet.
That's amazing.
Not yet.
That is amazing. I love
sure
it. That's your answer. You're like,
and how many can you do?
Oh, I can do over 200. I think we stopped counting at about 200 and went, okay, well, let's just
say over 200.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Because we started going down the list of all the ones that I've done over the years, and it was, it was like crazy. I did this one time. I actually had this lady that said, I don't believe you can do an impression of me. And I said, well, and sing something. And she sang something, and I sang it right back to her. And she's like, oh my God, it was like listening to a tape. So, I just have this ability. I can listen to somebody, and then I can recreate their tone. It's weird.
Can you play piano?
No. I can't play any
instruments. I would think you'd be able to play instruments, because if you hear all that,
I just say, God said, I'm going to give you this much talent, and that's it. There's that's a cutoff. Yeah. I'm not going to let you, because
singing with your mouth closed is when they cap it.
I've tried to play guitar. I just can't do it. I can't play an instrument. I probably could, but maybe it's that I just don't have. I can only do work on something that I really enjoy and love, and I love puppets, and I love. Yeah. So it's I don't love playing on an instrument. Yeah. But I love doing impressions, and I love writing comedy, and so for me that's where I probably could. I just would have to discipline myself to do something I don't want to do.
And how heavy are your dolls?
What's that?
How heavy are your dolls or your puppets?
They range. Winston's not very heavy. He's more on the light side, but boy, some of them are really heavy. Rex, the crash test dummy, that guy he's made out of wood. It's not real wood, but it's like a plastic. It's a composite type with plastic and wood chips, but he's heavy. He's really, but so all of them are different.
It's crazy, right? It's amazing to hear the process. And when you're writing comedy, do you actually sit and write?
I do.
You do?
I do. I will get my writing team.
Okay.
I have 2 guys that work with me. Pete Mitchell, who is in No More Kings, I was telling you,
Yep.
and John Max, who is one of the top comedy writers on the planet. The guy writes he does the Academy Awards, he does the Emmys. I think he's been nominated for 8 or 9 Emmys. Never won, but I keep telling him that's because you're going to win your first Emmy with me. But
heard it here.
he's an amazing writer, and we will either sit at my house. My wife will bring us sandwiches and chips and Cokes, and we'll sit in there and write. Or we go to Disneyland and ride. So
really?
I love going
on
to
the
Disneyland.
rides.
Yes. Well, we sometimes if we decide to ride, we'll write while we're standing in lines. But we'll also just go to a restaurant and sit. And there's something about the creativity and there's a real electricity of creativity, of imagination at Disneyland. So there's something really. It's just a different place. As soon as I walk into the gates, I feel like a different person. I mean, I just feel the weight of the world go off of me. And actually, John Max says the same thing. So
really,
he goes regularly on my ticket.
Is it hard to take someone else's words and make them your own when you have people writing material?
No. What happens is they write their own, and then I rewrite it to be my own words.
Okay.
So the idea will, I write the show, so I'm the one who completely writes the show. I decide who's going to do what character is going to be, what the basis of that character is, what the basis of the show is going to be. Then I will have a skeleton, and then we'll get together and we'll write ideas together. And then we'll sit down and write a full, and then everyone will write their own stuff, and then I will rewrite everything to be my own.
Yeah.
So
when I did stand up many years ago, I used to like my dad and Tom Jones, all those guys when I was younger than you, and it was always hard for me. The writing material was the hardest part for me personally. It was easier for me if I was a character. Mm-hmm. Is it the same for you? That I don't know what that is. That if I was like, a Texan or something, I could write and speak from someone else's point of view.
Exactly.
Much
See, that's what I do, because all my characters are different perspectives.
Right.
And I'm not a big set up punchline, set up punchline, set up punchline. I don't do that.
Right.
I like to write situationally based comedy, character based comedy.
Right.
So when I first hired John Max, he would write a joke and he would say, "Oh, you should have Winston tell this joke," and I would email back and say, "It's a really good joke, but Winston would never tell that joke. That's a Dougie joke, or that's a Walter joke." And so he's been writing now for me for 8 years, and he's finally to the point where he doesn't do that anymore because he knows. He's kind of gotten into the head of the puppets and knows who's who and who would say what. And so
that's fascinating to me.
But it is easier to write for characters, for sure. But John Max is one of those guys that I can say, "Hey, write me 10 jokes, and then I'll pick and choose, because I'm going on an interview tomorrow. I need 3, funny things to say." And he'll pop back 20 jokes in 20 minutes. I'm like, "Holy crap! How did you?" He's just like, he's so fast.
Wow.
Right.
But he's just bam. He's one of those guys that can just write the gags, and then I'll go through them and rewrite them and make them my own, and then decide what character is going to. That's how we work.
What's left on the Terry Fator bucket list on the performing side? You win America's Got Talent, you've headlined the Mirage for years, you've worked all over the world. What haven't you done that you want to do? Is acting, as hosting?
I would love to do some television just for fun. I think it would be great. Well, also, I would like to do television just because it would give my fans something to watch. Right. Because my fans are always like, "Oh, we want to see you. We want to see you on TV." And of course, what I would be a family show. Yeah. And that would be a lot of fun. And then
would you work puppets into it, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think so, because I think it's what I do. Right. I'm actually pitching a game show that actually incorporates myself and all my puppets into it. Really? That we're pitching now to some of the networks. Okay. That's really unusual, and also utilizes the music and the ability to do impressions too. Right. So it'll be a lot. Hopefully that'll come through. That would be the most perfect, ideal situation. But I want to do something that helps other people get discovered. There's not an Ed Sullivan anymore. We don't have an Ed Sullivan. Without America's Got Talent, I would never have gotten where I am. And I want to be the next Ed Sullivan that says, "Look, this isn't a competition. We just want to give you
Put
an
people
opportunity.
on,
Yes,
give them a platform.
we want to give you an opportunity to show
Yeah, I
your
like
talent.
that.
We want to find the most talented people we can and give you an opportunity. There's no, you're not going to win $1 million, but you're also going to be able to triple your price at fairs if you're a fair entertainer. That kind of thing.
In that limelight.
It's a dream, but it may not happen. But I'm still dreaming that I can be that guy.
Is it frustrating? Like you said, you're pitching a game show and pitching different shows. Is that process frustrating? Because like you're in your world now where you're the puppet master, right? Literally. But when you're at the Mirage, you're the king. It's your show. You do what you want. You don't need clearance from people. Is the business frustrating?
It's really not, and the reason is that I'm kind of it's all gravy. I got the mashed potatoes and the meat right there. It's gravy. I'm fine. It's it's the icing on the cake. I like the cake. The icing makes it better, but I can live on just the cake. So that's kind of where it is. I'm in a great place with doing the Mirage, having this contract and doing all these shows around the country. And so if it never happens, that's fine. I'm not one of those that's like, oh my God, my life is depending on this. It's just like, it'd be fun if it happened, and I would love it to happen. And I think it will happen eventually. Eventually somebody out there is going to see that there's a lot of money to be made on that. Because people, my fans really do love what I do, and I know they want to watch me every night or once a week with their kids and their grandkids and be able to get in there and have a whole family night again. We don't have many of those anymore.
One of the things I noticed when I went recently, I don't know if you did, Nat, was clearly there were people there that it was not their first time seeing you. Like, there was no doubt about it. There were people that they saw certain puppets. They would have a reaction before you even said anything. A lot of them, I could hear them, I love this one, I love this, things like that. And that was just in my little area. You get a lot of people that come back 1, 2, 3 times, don't you?
Yes, I do. And I think the key to that is just make sure you keep having fresh material, good material. Because if your material's bad, then they're not going to come back multiple times. So that's why I always try to top myself. Next year's show, how I'm going to do it, I don't know, because I think this year is unbelievable. But I said that about last year's show. I said I'm not going to be able to top it, and I've got it. So this next year's show, and I think the thing I'm doing differently is I'm doing a lot of multiple puppets. I've got 2 puppets, 1 on each hand. Which I honestly didn't even know I could do until earlier this year.
And then one puppet has 2 on top of that.
Yes.
So,
one puppet has 1 on the shoulder, 1 on each shoulder. So.
Yeah, because I saw it probably a year apart, or maybe a little bit longer. Introduced, I would say probably a few more. So the show drastically changed in a year. So that was fun to
which
watch.
is exciting, right?
It's fun to watch.
A lot of the other shows you go, it's like
been there, done that.
Like a lot of the Cirque shows, and they're great, but you know what you're getting when you go.
Exactly.
And with him, you can go every year,
and it keeps it fresh for you too. So you're not just telling the same thing.
When you do change it, you don't know if something works until comedians go to the Comedy Store to work out bits. You can't work out a bit, but only in your show, right?
Well, I can, but see, the beautiful part about my show is that I don't have to change the whole thing. Now, I can, because that's what I did this year. This year, almost the entire show was rewritten. And I was able to put it in, and my instincts have gotten to the point where I can do that. I can totally change the show, and only a few minor things won't work, because now my instincts, I know what will work. But the great thing is, the way I can change my show is because I'm a ventriloquist and I'm a puppet-based thing, is I can just say, I'm going to take this puppet out and rewrite a thing, and I know all the rest of this works because I've been doing it for a long time.
Right.
So now if it does bomb, which I've never had a puppet bomb, but if it does, only 1 puppet out of 12 bomb.
Right.
So, and now I have 24 puppets on stage. So 1 puppet out of 24 bombs. So, and sometimes it can be just, I've got to figure out what the character is going to be for that. Like, I've got my Maynard Tompkins character. It took me years to figure out that it was really funny that he didn't know any Elvis songs, I just was trying to make him, I was trying to write this comedy with this Elvis impersonator puppet, and I couldn't figure out anything funny about it. And then one day I went, I know what it is. He doesn't know any Elvis songs. And he's going to have to lip sync to me doing Elvis songs without moving my lips. And then it was like a whole new routine and a new character was created. And now I find it's easy to write for him because that's his character, So, but it can take me a long time to really settle in on a character.
And before the show even starts, you've got, is it Ben? Mm-hmm. Ben out there. He's great. How long has Ben been with you? I don't remember Ben from maybe the first time I saw you. It was someone different, I feel.
I believe Ben's with me the whole time.
Okay.
I've been here at the Mirage. If not
wow.
right from the very first show, I think It was really close.
Okay.
I had another guy that was doing stuff at the Hilton when I was at the Hilton, and then
Oh,
on
right.
the road,
Wow, I
had a
remember the
different guy.
Hilton days
Mhm,
too.
mhm.
That's right. And yeah, Ben does a great job at just getting things kicked off. And
Yeah.
He's electric, isn't he?
Yeah, he really does
Lot
great.
of
And the way you
energy.
use him, yeah, it's just the right amount. Like what that to me would be a tough. First it's like when you walk in, you're not sure what is he doing. It's like a DJ, whatever, and he kind of gets the crowd going. But then he really gets people in the mood.
Yeah, he's amazing. He really, really is amazing. The guy is. I'm so proud to have him as part of my act, and I think he's proud to be a part of my act.
And he travels on the road as well.
He does,
So his
yes.
schedule's used to. So all of you,
Yes.
no days off.
And no days off.
It's crazy.
That's
so crazy.
That's a great gig, though.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
perform every day.
When you're having fun, though, it's not.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I do take some
Job.
time off. It's like last weekend, I went to Disneyland and went to
Right.
Galaxy's Edge, and then I spent the day with family, and we rode all the rides and did all the stuff. So I do take some time off.
And Galaxy's Edge is taking over Instagram. I mean, you can't get on Instagram and not see stormtroopers this whole past couple of weeks. It's just amazing.
It's really fun. It's literally like stepping into another planet. I mean, there's just nothing like it. I mean, it's like Harry Potter is great, and I love Harry Potter, and I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. But you go into the Harry Potter world, and it's like you can still see the other parts of the lands,
Yep.
and you kind of walk from one, and it's just all of a sudden you're in Harry Potter land. It's really cool. They really masterfully did Galaxy's Edge because you can't get to it without walking down a very long corridor where you can't see any other part of Disney
That's smart.
from there.
That's
So
smart.
once you're there, you're on another planet.
You're in a galaxy
and
far,
all
far
the
away.
people- yes, and all the people are in character and in costume, and you see ships, huge life-size ships right there as you're walking. It's quite marvelous. It's amazing.
Really?
And I didn't get a chance to do the cantina. It's sold out like that, and I didn't get to make chance to make my own lightsaber. But
Now,
I
when
will
you go to
eventually.
Disneyland, are you just going like we go, or you?
No, I have a
you've got
guy.
a guy, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
guy.
Terry Fator has a guy. He's like, no, silly man.
No,
Of
no, no.
course
We have a
I
guy.
don't.
We have a guide that
You
helps us.
peasant. You asked that question.
Oh, I can't go back, man. I can't.
Right, no, I would think you go down that road, you
No, no,
can't
no, yeah,
be
you can't go
General
back 'cause you
Pop
don't
at
ride-
Disneyland. What am I
He's all
thinking?
getting
Come
asked for
on.
the fast pass.
Yeah, get out of
Hour,
here.
we can
He's like,
go.
okay, we can go to Pirates of the Caribbean in 10 minutes. Come on, let's go.
Well, that's because the problem is that I'll be standing in a line, and all of a sudden, a lot of times people, will think, most of the time people think, oh, that looks like that guy.
Right.
They don't realize it's me.
Right.
But once one person realizes it's me, then I'm basically an hour and a half taking pictures and selfies, and,
Right.
and that's work, and I love it. Don't get me wrong, and I'll never say no if somebody comes up to me and asks for one. But it becomes work. Then you're basically just there
Sure.
doing it.
Have you ever
You're
said
doing
no?
No.
No, I'm not.
I let
I'm
other
not
people
Terry.
say no.
Do you do
Good
the
point.
Club 33 thing too? Have
I'm
you
a
been
Club
in there?
33 member, yes.
Are you?
I'm a Club 33
You're
member.
a diehard.
I'm a
you
diehard
are-
Disney.
Have
I'm
you
Club
seen his
33.
pants?
Yes,
Have you
my
seen his
pants.
The pants.
Look at these.
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse. Can you see him?
I
I'll
mean,
get this all the way.
he's not messing around.
He ain't messing around.
So yeah, I'm Club 33 member at Disney World and Disneyland. So
Now, is the Galaxy's Edge at Disney World also, or no?
it has not opened yet, but it's coming.
I love that you know that you,
Oh,
you
yes.
have it all.
I think it's like September or October that it's opening.
Have you performed over there?
I perform in.
At Epcot?
I have not performed at Epcot. It's something. It's one of
My dad
bucket
just
list
did a
things.
thing at Epcot, like he does every few years.
Love
It's
to
like an
do. We need to reach out
outdoor-
to him and find out
Yeah.
about, because that would be my dream. Is to
Right,
perform at
right.
Disney. But I have performed at the Walt Disney Theater in Orlando.
Okay.
And, it's at the Dr. Phillips Center, I think, and it's called the Walt Disney Theater. So I do that once every year or two.
And when you're home, so I know one of your things now is video games.
Mm-hmm.
When you're gonna Netflix and chill, what are you firing up on Netflix? Like, do you binge watch? Are you like a Breaking
I'm
Bad
a
or
big
Game of Thrones? Or
game show. I don't watch any of that stuff.
Really?
No, I don't. I watch game shows. I found a channel that is like the ultimate channel, Buzzer, BUZZR.
Okay.
And it's buzzertv.com.
It's old school
And
game shows?
Yes, and it's Match Game and Card Sharks and Press Your Luck and all the old and one that I had not seen in a long time, Supermarket Sweep, where people go
I
through
remember
the
that. You're
supermarket. Yes,
filling
and
the
they
card.
yes,
Yeah, I remember that.
And so I will, if it's Christmas time, the TV never goes off of Hallmark, and we watch Hallmark Christmas movies and we're very proud. My wife and I are very proud. We watch all of them. We have an app that tells us when we can say we've watched it. And then when it's not usually on the Buzzer network, which is they're local. So I actually had an antenna installed on my house so I could get Buzzer.
Seriously?
And you can watch it online. So you can just go to buzzertv.com and it's buzzertv.com. I'm not even
the things you didn't know about Terry Fator coming out of the Vegas Junkeez.
You know, I used to just watch a lot of news, and I used to watch a lot, and stuff just had me all crushed and depressed, and I just got tired of it, and I actually quit Facebook. I have a professional page, but I don't do personal Facebook at all.
I don't blame you. It's just people arguing about politics.
That's what I said.
That's all they do.
I can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
I can't do it anymore. So I just quit.
Don't blame you.
I deleted all the Facebook apps off my phone, and I still let I have a company that does my my Terry Fator, my official stuff. Yep. And I'm glad. I want people to be on Facebook, but I just can't do it. It makes me it gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
I just watch game shows. I don't game shows and play video games.
Wow, you're like a kid.
But lately they put the new Press Your Luck and Card Sharks where hundreds of thousands and $1 million, and wow, it's fun. So my wife and I just watched them last night, and tonight, Holy Moly! It's a new one with have you seen Holy Moly?
I've seen the previews.
It's hilarious.
I've actually seen the previews for it.
It's so much fun, and I cannot remember the name of the guy who's the host, but he's hysterical. What is it? Rob Riggle.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Rob Riggle,
Rob
right.
Riggle. That's right. I couldn't remember his name. I see him all the time.
Rob Riggle's one of those guys that's just in everything.
Hilarious.
Really?
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun.
Not Step Brothers, yeah. Isn't that movie, right?
Yeah, he was in like Dodgeball,
All
I think,
of them,
right?
yeah.
He's in a lot of Vince Vaughn
awesome.
movies.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here right now at the Tropicana Hotel. We're in the brand new Trago Lounge. What do you think of the Trago Lounge?
It's great.
Right?
You know, the weird thing is I've actually filmed something in here at one time, and I don't remember when, years ago, like 9 years ago. Right when I started, they set something up right over here, and they had a camera, and I don't remember what it was, but I love the Tropicana. I went and saw Rich Little.
Oh, yeah.
And I also saw Murray Sarchuk here. So
Murray.
he's great, but Rich Little show is fantastic.
He's great. I mean, he's just a legend. I mean, he's when you see him do an impression, when you do impressions, do you try to make it like your own, and in a sense of when other impressionists do it, like a lot of them do De Niro or they do whoever? Is it weird for you to do those because you're like, oh, well, he does a great De Niro, I'm going to stay away from that?
I don't do speaking impressions. I only do singing impressions. So I don't take licenses. But the interesting thing is that you would bring that up is that most of the things that we know of famous sayings by people, by famous people, were not really said by the famous people. They were done by impressionists. So, like, for example, James Cagney never said, "You dirty rat." Never said that. That was an impressionist who said that, and that's what we know. Ed Sullivan never said, "Really big show." That was an Ed Sullivan impersonator that came up with that. Yes. Same thing with "Play It Again, Sam." That was never said. That was said by a Humphrey Bogart impressionist. And so most of the things that we know that are iconic said by other people were done. So interesting that you would say they take a little license with it.
Mind blown.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
And look at it.
Fake news. It's absolutely true. There's been fake news.
You will find that most of the things that we have attributed to famous celebrities were never said by the actual celebrity. They were said by an impersonator of that celebrity.
Have you ever been reached out? People impersonate you?
Somebody impersonating me?
Yeah, have you had that yet?
No.
It seems impossible.
I know. I don't know
how would you even do it?
I don't know how.
It's hard to impersonate. I'm very generic when I'm not doing an impersonation. But no, I haven't. But I have been reached out by people who have heard my impressions of them, and it's always fun to hear somebody say that they like. Etta James reached out to me and told me she liked it.
I mean, that's like when Roy
Orbison's
widow.
Right? Roy Orbison's widow reached out to me and told me that she loved my Roy Orbison impression.
Wow.
Things like that. So
Yeah.
it's really cool when you hear from somebody. But I'm not a mean comedian, so. Like Justin Bieber could come and see my Justin Bieber puppet,
Right.
and I don't think he would be hurt or offended.
No, I don't think
I know
so.
Donald
Probably
Trump
not.
has seen the Donald Trump thing because I'm friends with Sean Hannity,
Okay.
and I will send him, and Sean talks to Donald all the time.
Sure.
And I said, I should say President Trump. It's not Donald anymore.
Right.
But so I will send it to Sean, and Sean will get it to President Trump and have him watch it just to make sure I don't want to upset the president.
Sure. That's
You might get a
awesome.
tweet about it. Hey, why
Exactly.
not?
Yes, that would be nice. Boy,
that would be
help.
kind of funny. Yeah.
I could sit and talk to you all day, but you've got to be somewhere, and we're gonna wrap this up. But man, I can't thank you enough for stopping by Vegas Junkeez tonight.
Thank you so much.
Really, it
What a
means a
pleasure.
lot to me. I know you guys get hit up. You get hit up with a lot of requests all the time, and to come do our small show that's just getting off the ground, and we really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
We'll have to do it again, and I
Let's
mean
do
that.
it.
I'm not just saying
Holding
that.
each other. It's a verbal binding agreement. Terry
I would love
Fator's
to do it
doing
again.
a show again.
Yes, I'll do it again. It was
All
a lot
right.
of fun.
Thanks a lot. And please, when Winston wakes up from his nap, tell him it was good to see
I
him.
certainly will.
All right.
He literally did go to sleep. My hand went to sleep.
You're like, please take us off.
Terry Fator, everybody. We'll see you guys next
Bye,
week.
guys.
Wow. Thank you so much,
so
man.
welcome.